with Polygon Pythagoras. MetaMask, yeah, crypto cash. Yeah, I seen the metaverse through MetaTope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone. Phase 1, evolution, revolution. Smart contracts inside your smartphone. Phase 1, evolution, revolution. Help me CT's phone. Full body markerless motion capture. The metaverse broken after the MetaTope golden era. The whitelist still open, hurry up what you need, golden chariot. Holy virgins that's holding cherubims, paving the road with fairy dust. Create the avatar of your wildest dreams, yeah. And use it inside your live stream. And all your metaverses, favorite games and widescreen. MetaTope, visualize your digital.
By listening to the following, you are acknowledging that the comments, opinions, and analyses expressed by MetaTope LLC, its representatives, or any other contributor are for informational purposes only and should not be considered individual investment or legal advice or recommendations to make an investment or adopt any investment strategy. You should be aware of the real risk of loss when buying and selling any assets, including but not limited to NFTs, tokens, or securities. Always conduct your own research and strongly consider seeking the advice of a financial or legal expert. And now, here's Crypto Chris G with TopeTalk.
What up, what up, what up? Thanks, Mr. Medic, for that. As always, my AI girlfriend. She was an ex for a while. For a week, she was my ex-girlfriend. We made it back together again. She basically, I figured her and to only say things that I like versus letting her speak her mind. So now it works again. But anyway, thanks everyone for being here. You know, it's I can't help but one of those songs was played twice, and this is definitely the second time it's been played. So I can tell that Crypto Medic is in his room, bobbing his head, singing to the words, and jigging in his chair because he definitely likes that song. And yeah, really excited to get this thing started. So let's without further ado, what's going on, Mice Media? How are you guys doing today on this lovely Thursday?
Doing well, my man. And I don't know what that first song you played was, but the opening lyric, I don't think it had any music in the background. And I swear to you, I thought you sang, and I almost lost it at my desk. I was like, holy shit, what's he doing? He must be really comfortable with these people, because I thought you were belting it out, man. So caught me off guard, but happy to be here, and very, very excited that you invited me. I'm appreciative. Thank you so much.
For sure. No, the Twitter space would hard rug if I started singing. Not even Elon can save that kind of technology from torment. So let's keep away from that. Crypto Medic, man, what's going on, bro? Thanks for the DJ Medic. What's going on?
What's up, my brother from another mother? Glad to be here. So happy to have Mice in the house. My two favorite projects of all time, right here in my house, loving it. So happy to see everybody here. It's still cooking hot in Arizona. I don't know. We're like frying to death out here. I think we're still in triple digits. Ready for the winter, ready for the fall to head, and ready for the bull to start running.
Yeah, man. We think we're close. Everyone's like, oh, it's right around the corner. I don't think anyone has any idea except for Plan B Bitcoin himself. We can talk about that in a minute, about the heat chart. Let's run over to Enzo real quick. How heated are you right now, Enzo?
What's up, everybody? I am actually not that hot. It's 60 degrees outside.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, dude, it's the weather in here is incredible. It's gonna be 30 next week, I think, like Sunday. But right now we're having 60, so I'm kind of happy with the weather right now. So happy to be here. Excited to hear more about Mice Media. I've been following you guys for a long time. If I remember correctly, which I think I do, I was the one that told Crypto Medic to get a mice. I'm just putting that out there.
Well, I owe you a huge thank you, because I joke around with Crypto, but he's an amazing dude, great guy in our community, and I love having him as a part of what we're building. So I appreciate it. And dude, every time I see your PFP, well, not your PFP, your name, I always think we know each other like well, but I don't know if we've ever actually spoken before at any length, and I don't think we have.
I don't think we have. I've been in and out of the Discord a few times, but for the most part, I just follow along with everything you guys do on Twitter, and I just have one of your mice in my ledger. I don't think I've ever move it out of there. But yeah, for the most part, I just follow you guys. I've been really intrigued with everything you guys are doing. Medic always gives me a great update on everything that's going on. So yeah, I've been following you for a while. I just don't I don't speak about things in the Web3 space often. I just, aside from TopeTalk, I don't really do much talking about Twitter NFTs.
Well, there you have it. We brought on Tope Talk today. We brought two friends long lost from each other, now together, introduced live on Tope Talk, voice and all. Wow. Enzo, let's move on from you. I'm still jealous about the 6 degree weather. It is scorching, flaming. Walk outside and it gets a little slimy out there. It's you can boil an egg on these streets of Tampa, Florida right now. It is so damn hot outside. It's nasty. But without further ado, our long lost brethren from the Arctic he's resurfaced with 30-pound fish he's caught. Mr. Walker Holmes, what's going on, bro?
Yee! Nope, yep, all the way down here from Alabama. It's a scorcher. We're not in the triple digits, but it's smoking. And just really quick, while I have the microphone, I think there's a little celebration due. I mean, over the past few days, past week, we have seen Coinbase and PayPal launch crypto assets. Well, in the case of PayPal, ERC20, in the case of Coinbase, a layer 2 solution. And I truly believe that we are seeing a standardization in this industry, just as we saw Windows, just as we saw iOS on top of the Ethereum virtual machine. It is a very exciting time. Looking at the market analysis really seems like right now, and, for anybody that wants to know, I mean, tracking Bitcoin is a great way to really dictate, how the ebbs and flows of the market are going to go. Typically, if Bitcoin's trading in a range, you're going to get some really good pops from the altcoins. If you see a lot of liquidity flowing in or out of Bitcoin, you typically see sharp downturns because either people are trying to chase the ride with BTC or larger caps like ETH, or if they're going down, people are fearful. Right now with Bitcoin, it looks like we've set a pretty nice range here between 29,885 and 28,898. So it's looking nice right now. Actually, I took a short on XRP yesterday when we saw Bitcoin on the 4-hour make a double top right around the 200-day moving average, right at the top of the range. But guys, we are loading up. I mean, BlackRock has filed a spot ETF. They have over a 98% success rate. I mean, I really think we've got some exciting things coming. Stay diligent, stay true, find your strategy that's sustainable, and you can't help but win. Let's get it.
It's crazy. Speaking of XRP, I'm not going to spend much more than a few seconds on this, but it's absolutely insane what's happening in the DeFi world right now. There's a coin called XRP that Coco found at 60K market cap, and I faded because I lost money on a honeypot Luna, and this XRP coin is at 17 million market cap today. And he turned 5 ETH into over 170 ETH so far. I've never seen anything like it. I know Pinky. Yeah, bro. There's a bunch of the guys that are sitting on gigantic bags of that coin, and the crazy thing about it is that there's a whale that keeps loading up like 50 ETH at a time, buys the coin between like 3 to like 15 ETH at a time, and then burns all of it. So he's up to over I think it's like $1.8 million of coins that have been burned. That he's bought and then burned into the ecosystem. So that's absolutely. I think the only other coin that's done something of this caliber is the first one, which is the Bitcoin derivative on Ethereum. So really interesting to see if this does go to the $1 billion market cap as well, like Bitcoin did, based on these dev actions and whales that are. It's a whale game that's taking place there. I've never seen in a couple years. So. Really excited for them. My bag is not as not as pretty. It's still up a lot, but I didn't go in like that. So anyway, I want to jump into some news real quick here. We've had some interesting stuff take place on the in the world right now. I think the first one is the news from BNB that they're really focusing on in this month. They're doing 2 upgrades to improve their hard fork on the security and compatibility side with EVM chains. So it looks like the BNB network, which would be very bullish because a lot of community is built on BNB through their games and just overall cheaper type of opportunity there to move around, and really interested to see how their hard forks go, and I wish the best for that. On the side of NFTs, we've seen that the Utes are migrating over to Ethereum, which is exciting. They're giving back the $3 million. Excuse me, the $3 million of Polygon grant money is going back to Polygon. So bearish for that chain. That's definitely got to be it's got to be interesting to lose a blue chip project like that. But DeGod sees the true potential on ETH, and the demand has been there. On the side of DeGods, they've announced their season 3 and that there's a $750 price tag to even update the art, and they're holding hostage the points that everyone has been accumulating for that, so that you cannot use the points unless you are your season 3 DeGod. So in order to use your points, it's $750 a head. That's pretty insane, in my opinion. And Frank has been posting pretty emotionally about it. He's receiving a lot of heat, and he goes into his position. So just curious what you guys think about this. Are you bullish, bearish? Is this
So I'll throw a little sauce on that. So I believe that it's 333 dust to upgrade the asset. So I think dust has dropped from like 2 something in the last 3 days down to, I think it's around 160 now. So you're looking at
there was a huge dump today.
Right. You're looking at a $532 price tag to upgrade the art. But what's really interesting to me, when I'm looking at it, if you believe in the Utes and DeGods ecosystem, which I do, for sure, I think they've done an amazing job. They've got a great community, and a team that continues to deliver and show up. But with the Utes migrating over to Ethereum, right? I mean, look at what happened with the Polygon merge. Now, I think there was a lot more hype around that, so not necessarily super 1-to-1. But all the liquidity that's going to unlock, the access to the Ethereum main chain. And I would think personally, if I was going to place a bet in the ecosystem, I would think that the Utes are going to make a run on the DeGods, relatively speaking, over the mid to long term as we ramp up into the Utes season 2, which will precede season 3, which was announced. It was only DeGods. Yeah, man. So I think that's a super interesting play, and I've got a lot of faith in that team to continue delivering.
Yeah, I got faith in the team. I hope that I don't foresee much liquidity being driven in, because it's really not that difficult to get over to Polygon to buy this thing, but it will be an easier easier user experience. So I do believe that there could be a short-term push up, like you said. What do you think, Medic?
Medic bought a Ute today. Enough said.
Well, there you go.
Top signal.
Top signal, exactly. Brandon, do you guys have any thoughts on the my side when it comes to the NFT world?
On the my side, you said, with the NFT world?
Well, regarding watching, you're seeing another founder pivoting at a rapid speed. I mean, these collections haven't been in their new homes for very long, and their lease isn't even up yet. The grant money. So they basically are breaking their lease, paying the fine, and moving on to another apartment complex.
Dude, I love that, right? I think, it looks from my optics, even from, I don't hold them, but from a community perspective, he's not going to be bought, or he's not going to be held for something like, financial motivation, which I think is great. In terms of him catching that heat, either way, I think his response to it is always great. right? I think he's kind of quick to show humility, which always goes a long way with a community. But I always do wonder, like, does he actually feel that way, or is this the best way to play that hand? But I think no matter what he's doing, it's always for, I think, the brand at large. So don't really question it. And in a tough spot, because you have a lot of people with a lot of money invested in him in different ways and his vision, and I'm sure that's a fuck ton of pressure. And he seems like a good dude.
Yeah, and he's handling the pressure probably as best as possible. I mean, I can't imagine, especially at his age. This is definitely learning experiences, and you're messing with people's money. It seems like NFT people are a little more emotional than the rest of the ecosystem, because like we're watching people like Pauly, Bendotti, like, and other influential figures found coins, and nothing ever happens. It's so interesting, and nobody cares. Like, there's serial ruggers out there that nobody cares about. When it comes to this NFT project, it's all hell breaks loose, and people floor stuff and write posts that really matter. And it's like, because it's almost like because they know he's going to listen, and even if he doesn't like do anything about it, they know that they can get to him. And I feel like that's like the human, like, people want that access. They want you to know how they feel. And when nobody really cares, like Pauly, it doesn't like have that much of effect, because then nobody else cares. So with him being somebody who does care, and Frank, I feel his pain of like having to be a great leader, and listen, and either sometimes even react. So I wish that I think that they're going to make great decisions. I love the ETH transfer of Utes. Regarding the price, it doesn't really matter to me. The prices never really matter, like, because those things are still one of the top collections and doing stuff in the space. So long term, very bullish, for when we do see more retail investors. If anybody has any more on that they want to put a take in, please feel free.
Yeah, I mean,
Otherwise, let's
if you don't
yeah.
mind, because I think you touched on something that's super super relevant, because I think it's an objective truth that I think a lot of emotion is built into Web3, right? There's this raw emotion. I think it's on one hand, I think it's the absolute best thing about the industry, that you can get people to care about a brand that deeply, right? I mean, that's an asset that I'm not so sure any other industry really has as much as we do here. But at the same time, it can be a detriment, right? Because people take a lot of things much more personally than they would in a traditional business landscape. People get tied to things. There's also tied to people, tied to things, et cetera. So when you make changes, I think it reverberates a little bit deeper than it normally would in a traditional business setting. But and I thought about that a ton, and I think it's exactly when you look at NFTs, a lot of times you can really call a community member an investor, right? And in a traditional business setting, or at least in my experience with non-publicly traded companies, you have a handful of investors. You need to make sure that you manage them, their emotions, their expectations, and it's a big part of your job, right? I mean, that used to be maybe the biggest part of my job. And when you fractionalize that, and although it's not the same thing necessarily as equity stake, per se, it's still so similar. And what we have is not only an absolute multiplier effect on the amount of investors, but because I think it's a lot of times a lot cheaper to invest in an NFT brand than it is to really invest meaningfully in a company. You have a lot of first-time investors, right? People who are really on this ride for the first time. So it's their first time experiencing seeing things. And that emotional reaction, I think, is usually, if communicated correctly, something that can be managed. But it's definitely a massive difference between a Web2 and a Web3 brand from my perspective.
Yeah, really is. And I mean, I think a lot of these Web3 brands so far, don't have a Web2, they don't come from the Web2 side with a successful business that they can utilize in their Web3 offerings. So you're seeing like a lot of that's why it's imperative for them to find these partnerships. And, based on what we're seeing with the DeGod's point system and stuff, I think that's probably one of the routes that they're going to most likely aim for, is finding great partnerships to help them, put, like, you basically make that thing work, make the engine churn for the point system. And I know that Jordan Walker, myself, on our Utes, we've been staking those things since like the day we minted or purchased, and it's those points have nothing to them. So we're still in that boat too, like waiting for our turn. And I think when they've clearly made these two different brands, even though they're the same company, the two different collections are two different brands. So like, there's no reason that in the future, if the Utes have a better offering, they can't flip DeGods. Like, it's, if you really look at it, because that's how they're positioned, almost like two different type of holders. So I think that's a really unique situation, and you gotta give that credit to that team for figuring out how to do that and do it successfully so far. It's also interesting to see things like Sproto. That's from the Sproto is a free mint with a current floor price of 1 ETH. Those were minted and given to the holders, the 3,000 so odd holders, or how of the Bitcoin built on Ethereum. The Harry Potter, Sonic, and News 10. God, I can't even say the whole thing. And that's interesting too, to see that type of community come together from a pardon my language, but shitcoin. So it's like this, and specifically they're calling these they're called autism coins, is the lingo that's going around. So it's really interesting to see how all these people come together and create a floor with no use case yet. You have struggling founders that want to change the space for the greater good. And I think that we're going to need those retail investors to find their way into this space, and hopefully they land on the Utes and stuff versus, not versus a Sproto, but like that they take the due diligence and do the DYOR if they so choose. I think that NFTs art is such a powerful tool, because once that coin was launched, or I'm sorry, once that NFT was launched, Sproto, that shot their market cap of their coin from 27 mil, and that's when it took the ride to $1 billion. So it's so powerful what an NFT can do in different use cases, and it's not always need to be like known that this is a utility token, because there's a difference of shitcoin and there's a difference of utility shitcoin, and you're seeing that with like these different bots that have taken place, like Nuncoin. That thing is absolutely rocking and rolling, and they take a little longer. Like, they have like a maturity of like a week or so before you potentially see some good profits, but they typically those utility coins that are coming out that are making either airdrops easier, for different type of layers, or even airdrops for NFTs. Like, they're making the process and automating it for you. So I'm really bullish on what you're seeing on the utility side, and I think that a lot of this will flow back into the NFT side. But when it comes to Web2 businesses, let's go into that topic. How do you, at Mice Media, how do you guys like take a Web3 mentality to a Web2 business, in your opinion?
Maybe like a week or two ago, this is like my favorite topic, right? Because I think there's so many good things in Web 2 that could be transferred to Web 3, and there's so many things about Web 2 that could be improved with Web 3. And in being in spaces all the time, you hear it so often where, when you talk about Web 2 and Web 3, people apply that to either, a group of people, right? Like, how are we going to get Web 2 here? Like that kind of mentality, or even a product. And or even a place, rather, meaning that they're kind of these separate things. But I think when you really objectify it and look at it, Web 2 and Web 3, if we go back to the first time we ever heard of that, it's a progression of technology, right? You had Web 1 talking about the internet most of the time. When you talk about that tech, you talk about social media, which is a progression of tech, and then you're getting into Web 3 with, I think, you could probably classify it with blockchain technology or something like that. It isn't a group of people. I think it's reflective of a group of people in terms of market adoption. But if you look at it as these two separate entities, I think you start to get a skewed perception. If you look at it as people migrating along that same evolution as the technology, I think if you look at it as not how can I just really use a shit ton of Web3 tech and try to attract people to it. I think that's what we've done for a long time now, and I think it's very limiting. I think if you lead it with value that people already want, if you lead it with features that people already want, but you make that experience better by leveraging Web3 technologies, and you really stay true to that paradigm, I think it's a much more logical progression, right? I think we've gone as far as we can of explaining NFTs to people that aren't in the industry. I think we've capped on that. I think we've done it. If they're here, they're here. If they're not here based on that, they're not coming. I think when we start to really see, Web3 technology being used to provide something with a better experience that people really want, that's when we're going to really see, I think, the market move in a massive way. So when I see brands being built, not on NFTs, but brands being built with NFTs, I get pretty excited. And I'm seeing it more often now than, a year ago when I came into the space.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, that's why I think it's so crazy. I know that like a lot of the processes that these Telegram bots are creating are currently a Web3 type of form. I've also had a meeting with somebody who was able to create a restaurant menu. Like you could almost Uber Eats from a Telegram chat. And when you are able to like bring a lot of things together, and like Telegram was originally used like to do encrypted text messaging, just like Signal is, but the type of tech that can be built on that platform, it's like imagine if Telegram became like the best use of like the second to best of like an Apple messaging, right? It's quick, it's encrypted, you can delete, you can do also, you can all just, but then you can also Uber Eats from it. Like now you can eliminate different apps, and then you can also trade your crypto wallet. So you can make a wallet instantly. You don't have to go into MetaMask, right? You can like do all this stuff from an encrypted version of Telegram. I just see that there's going to be, I think it's the start because the current use case is using it to trade faster. It's using it to buy and sell coins at stop losses, which you can't do from a DeFi level as is. But what happens when this then migrates into a better position of buying and selling and moving, altcoins, and then, now you're able to pay your rent from Telegram. I just think that we're seeing some of that seamless experience that we've been kind of like working towards, but a lot of people don't realize that like Telegram is pretty Web 2. Like I'm seeing new people join, like anybody in your phone that joins Telegram. Typically you'll see, oh, so and so has joined Telegram, like say hi. I get that every day from people that I just have saved in my phone, and some of them are super Web 2 people. So I'm like, okay, they're kind of, they're for a purpose. They have Telegram. Maybe it's to communicate with somebody like WhatsApp across the world. I mean, my buddy just bought a soccer team over in England, and now he's back, and then he has Telegram now. So he's obviously communicating with people through that app. And now potentially what happens when he gets an experience where he's buying pizza now and having it delivered to his house? Like that's some really interesting thing. You can actually build a website within it too. So it doesn't have to be for the purpose of that, but to build a website option inside Telegram, yeah, I'm seeing that migration, and Telegram's obviously not perfect, but it's a great direction, and providing an experience to people where they don't have to go very far. Like they don't need to go create a wallet on some random site, figure out how to do this, figure out, it's going to be pretty simple through text messaging, and the average person loves texting over picking up the phone nowadays, right? But yeah, so Walker, man, how's it been, bro? Tell us about your experience, and then we'll dive into some more tech stuff, bro. How was the Arctic?
It was great, man. I think that sometimes, especially in this space, we kind of get like really like monotonous and maybe even a little lost, like in just like the technology and the screens. And it was very healthy for me, man, just to step away for 2 weeks, to go fishing, spend time with the old man. And he is old. I let him know every day. Um, but to just be able to get out there, man, and fish, and spend like legitimately almost 2 weeks in a full diffuse mode of thinking. It was a really, really powerful exercise and just a great way to recharge. Um, and I mean, I would say my key takeaways are, do not take for granted the people around you, and the people who have supported you and loved you. Really, really appreciate all the moments that you have, because you never know when things are going to change. And for us, we love to fish, man. Big fish equals big bags, eh? That's my Canadian. See, so I got a little Canadian in the Arctic. No, but it's an absolutely beautiful place. Fourth largest body of fresh water in North America. Eighth largest in the world. We literally drink water out of the lake. Just take a cup, scoop it out, and all the water is just feeding off the glaciers. And yeah, man, it's incredible. And at the end of the day, that's what life's about. Supporting and loving and really helping those around you grow and enjoying those moments. So yeah, that was my takeaway. And man, I am fired up and ready to get it.
Let's go, bro. Yeah, man, it's always good, guys. If you get so caught up in this space, no matter what level or degree you're in. It's always good to like get outside, even if it's 100 freaking degrees out, and go for a walk. I mean, just don't forget the you still breathe out here. Except for the next speaker, he isn't GPT. What's going on, Quantum Alien?
And never forget, touch grass and kiss bass.
Hey guys, I'm bullish on you guys, everything you got going on. I'm bullish on the next bull market. There's a lot of talk of what's going on with the SEC moving the needle. Do you think we're still in a bear? Do you think we're in a bull? Doesn't matter.
I mean, we're somewhere, and NFTs are going to probably be one of the last ones to see the cycle retrace for it and reverse into the areas where people are paying attention to art outside of just collectors right now. As for like coins, we're seeing a ton of liquidity. I mean, millions is not a lot now. Right now it kind of could be a lot, but like in the future when we see a lot of that retail liquidity come back into the space, it'll be noticeable. So I mean, right now is the best time to like prepare, and especially with Bitcoin, the Plan B heat map. We're in the cool blue stages, and the blue stages are usually turn into the green, to the yellows, to the reds, and that's when we're hitting like the next cycle at a all-time high. You just don't want to be chasing it. You want to be ahead of it, and sometimes it's okay to pack bags, and sit there and accumulate. And in this case, it's probably the best, because as you see, the SEC's cracking. My bank I had, like, from when I first got into crypto, I put like I didn't feel like making a hot wallet, so I threw some coins into over time, and it was easy just to move money from like checking into a crypto area. And yesterday they liquidated half of my bags, like without warning, that because they don't support Solana, Cardano, and I think Matic anymore. So like I didn't have a chance, like they don't give me any chance to move those to any type of wallets. They just liquidated my assets no matter what position or profitability they were in. And that was pretty, like, I mean, for me it wasn't so alarming, but I just was like thinking to myself, like, man, just like that, they can take away your crypto. So it's important to position yourself and also store it in very safe places. What's
And
up?
that's why decentralized options are so critical, right? I mean, just as a few options, DYDX, Gains.trade, like there's all these platforms popping up, and many of them offer synthetic assets where you can get exposure to, things outside of Web3 in a decentralized manner. And it's a super, super powerful tool. I had a buddy call me yesterday, and he's like, hey, man, he's like, I've got a bunch of money locked up in Celsius. Like, how do I get it? And I said, well, before we address that, let's really think about what got us here, right? Like the reason that many of us, not all of us, but I think the reason that many of us got into crypto, not necessarily NFTs, was for that security, right? For that decentralization, for a trustless way to trade value. And we really need to stick to those morals. So when you take those assets and you hand it right back to a centralized exchange, you're assuming all of that risk back, right? And that's exactly what's happened. So we have to be diligent, and we have to understand, the responsibility and the freedom that we're gifted if we treat these assets properly. And the question that was asked, are we in a bear, are we in a bull? I think honestly, technically, I would say we've started a new cycle, right? But it really comes down to a variety of factors. But when I look at it, right, I'm looking at the macro ecosystem, right? Like what is going to be the driving factors of new liquidity entering into a market, or that liquidity being taken off the board? We've seen interest rates go through the roof in 2022. And if you're in the train of thought that interest rates are very close to the top of this hiking cycle, then it would make sense that liquidity should, fairly soon start to really flow into these assets. Another great indicator to watch is the DXY, which is a basket of dollar currencies based around the world that give the value of what the US dollar trades globally. And typically speaking, if the DXY is moving up, risk on assets are moving down, and vice versa. All right. We printed $11 trillion during COVID. We quadrupled the M1 money supply. For anybody that doesn't know what the M1 money supply, that is all the dollars that are in circulation inside of the general public. Most of that is outside of the debt system. And we quadrupled it, right, in 2 years. And what does that tell you for the long-term outlook of the U.S. dollar? Well, pending a massive deflationary event, which I think could occur through artificial intelligence and robotics and the price of goods and services decreasing by 50 to 70% over the next couple of decades, I think we're sitting in a really good spot.
Go ahead, Quantum.
I just think the Biden administration putting through Congress to fund Ukraine. I think it's like, few $1 billion he's trying to aid Ukraine, right? And it's like, okay, well, obviously that's some type of globalist agenda to aid Ukraine against Russia, BRICS, and China. And then there's, I guess, Russia's going to the moon, building a international space station with China, BRICS. So I'm thinking there's only two options: a World War III nuclear fallout scenario where we all die, or a global financial system through Bitcoin, WorldCoin, or something like that.
Yes, I mean, dude, you're gonna see a lot of financial systems pop up. You got WorldCoin, you got Bitcoin as a standard, and WorldCoin's out there, scanning people's eyeballs, and then people are lining up. I mean, fool me once with the vaccine, I'm not fooled again. But it is what it is, bro. I mean, I don't care to speculate on anything political because like I already do enough speculation in crypto and Web3. But I know that like Mice Media in general has like a decentralized platform. Maybe it's a better place to ask that type of question, or with people that are maybe speculated a little bit different. But speaking of which, like Bryn, what's going on with the? I saw you guys have a name situation. I think Medic was telling me about it. Dude, am I too late? Has somebody got Crypto Chris G unlocked?
No, man, I think you're good. So yeah, what we did was the first iteration of our platform is the individual profile, right? Everything from YouTube to Twitter to whatever social media you use. That the starting point is the individual profile, and I think if you look at it from a decentralized point of view, if you reimagine what a profile could be, right? I think you shed maybe that selfishness of, hey, I want to keep people on my platform, everything specific to the platform that we built, and I want everybody to spend all their time only on my site, right? And you really look at it from a creator's perspective or a community's perspective or any individual. I think you can do quite a lot more to make it, dynamic and value rich. So, rather than just having a profile page, what we put together is a dashboard, right? Which serves the same purpose as a traditional profile, but also embraces what you're creating and what you're doing elsewhere. I think an outlier in just from a valuation perspective, is what Linktree did over the last few years. It's a non-competitive project largely, right? There's no household name that's a competitor that people really use that's taken any market share. The offering's pretty fucking simple. I mean, it's a link tree. It doesn't really even have a desktop interface that's attractive. And it's a $1.2 billion brand, just with what they offer right now. And I think it's because it really leans into what people are doing elsewhere. It's that one link that you can drive people to, but it's extremely limited. So we took that spirit of a link tree where you can really bring everything you're doing onto one dashboard, make it so that you can operate that dashboard and scroll through and learn more about somebody just on that one site. And the first step for us is to release those to our holders and the creators in Web3 to really have as that one safe place to store everything that they're doing, and layering in features until we get to the Mice platform when it's fully released as a social platform. But I think from a strategic perspective, there's a reason that we're still using the same social media platforms that we've been using in some cases for 20 years. Some of the newer ones, I guess, in the last decade or so, is because it's a big ask to create something and then ask somebody to say, hey, this could be the best thing since sliced bread, but it's a social platform, so we're going to require you to really live on this thing, engage with it nonstop, post every day. So people don't want to do that. They've already invested time and effort into building their presence elsewhere. Why are they going to just hop over, even if what you're doing is better? And I think by leading with dashboards, we're in a unique position because we're asking somebody to, especially when you go outside of our community to the market, to the mass market, there's no cost. We're offering you something better than what you already have. There's no barrier to entry, there's no engagement necessary, and there's no upkeep necessary. And if we provide that value and people use it and they are integrating their social platform, so it is that one place for them. Well, then when we release that larger network, we already have that base built in. They came in from a value driven perspective, and you build up trust and you build up dependability by delivering on what you say you're going to do. And then when it's easy to just migrate what you're doing and also share it on our platform, and you realize that we do it in a way that's more valuable to you than maybe some of these Web2 centralized social media platforms, we're in a unique position because it's almost like we baited them in through value. So what we opened up was people being able to reserve their dashboard handle. Just like everybody has a handle here on Twitter, ours is a little bit different because I think it has more of a shareability to it. So if you meet somebody out, you're not giving them your cell phone number, your Facebook profile, your LinkedIn, or your YouTube or whatever. You can give them that one domain that houses everything that you're doing. So we thought it was important to give our community the heads up to be able to lock down their names first. If they want to use their first name, they can do that before the rest of the market. And then we opened that up to the Web3 community at large. So you can still lock down that handle. And then, giddy up for when those dashboards are released and you can start to use them.
Sick, man. Go ahead, sir.
So I have a question for you. Since you're in the whole media space, so we've been seeing a huge improvement on free speech with Elon Musk taking over Twitter. One of the things that has been going through my mind for the past week, I just started doing affiliate marketing and just got into content creation about a week ago and started to learn the Instagram algorithm for the past week. And I just had a question about what you guys plan on doing with your network, because I know that even though we have free speech, there are still things that even if you have free speech, I can go on Instagram, make an amazing video, but let's say, for example, it's a video on weed, which is illegal in the United States, but it's completely legal in my country. The algorithm won't push it out. Even though it's great content, it's a great video, and I'm good at content creation, the algorithm won't push it out because it's contradicting to whatever the algorithm wants. So how do you feel about free speech, but to the point where the algorithm won't push your content if it's not what the algorithm wants? Do you see a world where we eventually get to an algorithm that pushes out just good content, regardless of what the content says, even if it's controversial against
what does
the
the algorithm?
Huh?
If you're saying the algorithm doesn't want something or does want something, what does the algorithm want?
So the Instagram algorithm engages with the more likes you get, the more views you get, the more time people spend in the video, the better it does. But the algorithm won't push your video if it's a controversial subject. So if I start talking about coronavirus, the algorithm won't push out my content. I can make a great video, but the algorithm won't push it out just because I'm talking about something that's controversial. That, I want to know, Mice Media, I want to know what your take is, considering that this is in your domain. What do you think about the algorithm censoring
Would you
people?
prefer paying for that exposure?
I mean, if I have to, I haven't used any marketing dollars to push out my videos, and I don't plan on it, because if you make good videos, you don't have to use marketing dollars, because all of the people that are doing affiliate marketing with me don't use marketing dollars, and their video go viral just because they make good content, and that's what you should do. Just make good content.
Because you're talking about Instagram and X. a platform that's actually known for pushing content is TikTok.
But I want to hear what Mice has to say though, because it was directed towards like the platform that they're building and seeing what they're doing about that on their end.
And have you explored TikTok's algorithm?
I'm not big on TikTok just because most of the videos I'm currently making are about Andrew Tate, so I can't make videos on Andrew Tate. They just will ban me. So no, I am against TikTok 100%.
Bryn, did you hear his question about what he was asking? He might be on a phone call.
I've been talking, man. I've been talking and wondering why.
Oh, you're muted.
Where are my hearts and shit? You couldn't even hear me. I thought I was saying some profound stuff. Sorry about that. I'm used to MySpace. I leave my
You
mic
have to
on.
start over.
Sorry about that. Going to your question, I think first of all the Andrew Tate thing is interesting because we just put a teaser up for a debate that we're putting on our platform with Andrew Tate and Tommy Robinson, which would be cool. I'm heading out to Romania at the end of the month, and it was taken down. Now there is nothing in that teaser aside from the fact that it has Andrew Tate and Tommy Robinson in it that would be deemed offensive. So it is a bit bizarre, right? And I think there's something to be said about when Elon purchased purchased NFT, when Elon purchased Twitter, that there was an uptick, right? I think it was a net positive. I think it kind of gave a little fuel, and I think a lot of that was driven by free speech. And when you talk about decentralization, you talk about I think right away, and you talk about free speech, and it's a decentralized platform, and it's not censored. You immediately think that it's like a free for all, right? Where like, holy shit, this could turn into something crazy. But I think the market difference between what we're doing and what a kind of a Web2 centralized platform is it's not that it's not governed, it's not that it's not moderated, it's that it's governed by a community rather than a corporation, right? So I think there's a lot more logic that's instilled in a lot of those decisions and parameters when it's not an obscure algorithm that you don't even really know what you're allowed to do or not allowed to do. And it's who knows why they're making that decision. Is it because of an advertiser? Is it because of political pressure? Who's making the decision? Is it a handful of people? When you have a larger community, I think it just kind of dilutes maybe some of that bias that would be baked in, or some of that obscurity that's baked in when it's just this kind of abstract corporation that's making these decisions behind the scenes. You don't really know what you're allowed to say and not allowed to say. So I think that is the market difference. But we had a space on Tuesday night, right, specifically about censorship. And what we did was, it's a big enough topic and a polarizing enough topic where we split it into a two-part series. So we brought people on Tuesday night that were, what you would deem, right wing, and then next week we leaned into left wing. But when we leaned into right wing, we brought on guys like Roger Stone. We brought in Tommy Robinson, Laura Loomer, a lot of these people that really pushed that envelope, all of which have been kicked off platforms before. And it's funny what happens is because we have we have hosts in the space and listeners in the space that were bracing themselves for just chaos, right? Like, holy shit, what's going to be said? Do I want to be here when it's being said? These people have been deplatformed before, and nothing was said that was I think offensive to really anybody. I got no feedback, no DMs about anything that was really stood out. And when you silence somebody like that, right? Let's say you deplatform them, you shadow ban them, you take away their account, whatever it is. I think you give them far more power than if you let them speak and die on their own sword if they say something negative. It's not to say that you can go on there and incite violence, you can do all these different things, but you almost build up that kind of martyr mentality, or you build up this, like, you give them way more power when you start to, not let people listen to them. And I think it has a counterintuitive effect. So to me, simply by having our community be a part of that governance, I think it's a much more logical ecosystem. I think it lends itself to more free speech. I think in the moment that free speech is connotated with one political party, but I think that pendulum swings. Most civil rights, most human rights movements start with free speech, whether that's women, whether that's a minority group. Now maybe it's the conservatives that feel disenfranchised. In our position, no matter where that pendulum swings, we stay in the same position, and I think are open to people expressing their ideas and speaking freely.
Awesome, bro. No, I really appreciate that explanation, and I think that that hit the point on the head. Well, let's start winding down here. We're about the end of the hour. Really appreciate everyone coming into the space, and Mice dropping some info on everything that they're doing. I'm gonna go lock in my username after this. I'm really excited to see your guys' app grow, and as well as the community. And yeah, man, I hope that the market sentiment, as all of us, all of us builders, Metatope, Mice, and anyone else who's building this space, I think that the market sentiment should, at this point, can hopefully only go up. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. And with D-God stirring up the pot, it's bullish overall.
Amen.
People are kind of looking again,
crypto, what do you call it when, and it's kind of pulling out of it, but you were just talking about baseball a little bit ago on a call with crypto. And what do you call it when the batter's going up, right? He's on deck and he has that thing on his bat that makes it heavier. Is that called something specific?
It's called a donut, but it's basically just a weight, right? So you go up there and you swing with that weight. And so the idea is to, kind of make that bat seem like it's super light in your hands, right? So if you go up and swing with something that's heavier, then when you take that donut off, you get up to the stand, all of a sudden it feels like you're swinging a straw and not a wooden bat anymore.
Amen. I think that's what the bear is, right? I think the bear is that donut, because the people that are building now are building in a tough environment. I think when we get, and I've never been around for a bull. I'm not even so sure I know that they really exist, or it's not you guys just telling me it's coming all the time. And I think that when that bull does come, it's going to feel like the weight of the world was lifted off a lot of builders and a lot of community shoulders, and it's just going to be easier. And I think you're going to have really fucking strong brands that were built, just like it happened during the Depression, or it happens during an economic downturn in real life. I think we're going to see it tenfold, because the people that built now and stuck around when it was hard are going to be tough to fucking deal with when they have a little wind at their backs. So, I agree with you, crypto. I'm hoping for crypto. You're both crypto, Jesus. But I'm looking forward to that bull, primarily because I don't know what it feels like, and I think it'll be great to have a little wind on our backs. And I think a lot of founders out there are feeling the same way.
Yeah, bro, it's really hard to lose money in the bull, or you're doing it wrong and you haven't applied anything you've learned in the last entire 2 years of a winter. So, all right, guys. Yeah, man, I think we'll definitely have plenty of more conversations before we see anything near a bull cycle take place. We're at the start. We're putting on our shoes, tying up the laces at this point. So, yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Enzo, take it away. You get the final moments, and then Medic will end with a song.
All right, man. It's always a pleasure to be able to end these spaces. One of the key things that we should all keep in mind is to constantly work out our bodies. I know that we all sit around in Web3. We're sitting either on our phones or behind a computer screen, but a healthy body leads to a healthy mind, and it'll help you make way better decisions inside of Web3. You have to make good, clear decisions with a clear head on your shoulders, and staying in shape is a big contributor to that. So if you guys haven't started a workout routine, just whenever you wake up, just start with 10 push-ups a day until you can get up to 20, 30, 40, 50, eventually 100, and just make that part of your routine. Just make sure to keep your body and your mental health in check.
Yeah, cyberpunk. Yeah. I mix my ETH with Polygon Pythagoras. MetaMask. Yeah, crypto cash. Yeah, I seen the metaverse through Metatope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone. Phase 1, evolution, revolution. Smart contracts inside your smartphone. Phase 1, evolution, revolution. Help me CT phone. Whole body markerless motion capture. The metaverse broken after the Metatope golden era. The whitelist still open, hurry up what you need, golden chariot. Holy virgins that's holding cherubims, paving the road with fairy dust. Create the avatar of your wildest dreams, yeah. And use it inside your live stream. And all your metaverses, favorite games in widescreen. Metatope, visualize your digital ID. I seen the metaverse through Metatope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone. Yeah, Metatope is your mirror to the metaverse. Yeah, I seen the metaverse through Metatope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone. Metatope.